had my business and I gave it up in approximately 2007, and I moved to Siberia to be able to pursue wildlife photography because I wanted to do something no one else had done.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're in for a real treat. We're also visiting with a fellow YouTuber, someone I found, and I think you're gonna really enjoy this and his channel. Moose Henderson, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much, Bob.
I guess we better, for the audience, ask right off the bat, Moose, did your mother just really like moose?
No, I don't think my mother even knows exactly what a moose is. When I was working in Florida, I owned my own business, my own laboratory, and made more money than God, but I wasn't managing my life very well. I would work anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day and drink 6 to 8 hours a day. And I could see that I was on a path for destruction. So I decided to walk away from all of it, making $250,000 a year, and just go out and photograph and learn about moose. My friends who knew me well said that anyone stupid enough to give up that much money for that little amount of work should have the same name as his passion. So they gave me the name Moose.
What is the name of your YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel that's under my name. It's under Moose Henderson, as well as my website, which is under moosehenderson.net.
Very good. And folks, I think you'll really enjoy both. So go there. You and I share a passion for nature and outdoors and everything in the nature, and particularly wildlife photography. Photography has been a hobby of mine all my life, and I'm trying to make wildlife photography more of my hobby. So that's how I came across you. But I really loved that you were in a tiny house and had been living in a tiny house, and beyond just living in a tiny house, you've embraced that attitude. I think there's an attitude that goes with it of living small and not needing much and following your passions. And so I love that about your channel, and I hope we can make that infectious and share that with the audience.
Had my business and I gave it up in approximately 2007, and I moved to Siberia to be able to pursue wildlife photography because I wanted to do something no one else had done. And actually living in Siberia is something that very few people would consider. So I was over there for 2 continuous years, which also included winters. And it's winter almost all the time in Siberia, about 9 months of the year. While I was over there, I met a man at one of the wildlife parks who was extremely passionate about wildlife, and it got me infectious to doing more to help animals, not just run around and take their picture. And so when I returned back to the United States, I went back to school, got my master's degree and then my doctorate degree, and not really using those for anything more than just validation that I know what I'm talking about and to be able to help others appreciate wildlife, appreciate nature, and help with conservation.
Well, that's fantastic. And what is your PhD in?
My PhD is in wildlife ecology, and it's basically the study of moose, and my specialization is the study of what moose eat in the winter and how their diet changes with stress.
You began a life of a wildlife photographer then, and you're still doing that now.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has heard the term starving artist. And for the vast majority of people who are photographers, that's a pretty accurate term. Although, if you take a look at me, you can tell that I'm in excellent shape if you consider round to be a shape. So, obviously, I'm not starving, but I live a very meager lifestyle, and I do this by choice. I could go back and operate a laboratory and make money again, but that's just not a lifestyle that was conducive to staying alive.
And I know you're currently in a tiny house. How did you get into the tiny houses?
Well, back during the time that I was operating my business, I had a wife and 5 children, and I was helping to raise them, but all of my children were girls. Of course, my wife was female. We had 11 cats, one of which was a male, but I'm not sure he knew he was a male. We had a dog that was female. It was uh, pretty much an estrogen filled house. And so I spent most of my time on my sailboat, which was 31 feet long and very similar to the space of a tiny house. I was married and I continued to take care of my family and stuff, but I did basically live on the boat because things were kind of untenable in the house, at least for my personality. And, I'm not trying to portray myself as better than anyone or anything like that. I had a ton of my own problems, and it just worked better if I took care of my family but lived on the boat. And we had the boat in the backyard, so it wasn't like I was, down in the islands or something like that. I lived on the boat for 11 years. And then when I uh, left the boat and my children grew up and everybody finished college and stuff, then my wife and I split and both went our own ways. And soon after that, I ended up in Siberia.
You had became very comfortable with the idea of living small and living tiny, and you did build two tiny houses, and you still have them both?
When I was at the university, I went to school up in Michigan Technological University. And while I was up there, I needed a place to live. I didn't really want to pay rent, so I got the wild idea by watching various channels to build my own tiny house. And I built one house while I was working on the PhD. And part of my research took me to the Tetons, right below Yellowstone in northwest Wyoming. While I was there, I lived in the tiny house. I spent roughly 3.5 years in that first tiny house, and then I sold it to my landlord and moved back to the university. When I got back to the university, I didn't have any place to live, so I bought a van, and I had a Chevy Astro van that I lived in for a year and a half. And during that time, I built another tiny house. And I've been in that current tiny house now for about 3.5 to 4 years. And now I'm building what I call a small travel trailer, or what most people would know as a gypsy wagon or a Bardo trailer. And the reason for this is my work as a wildlife photographer requires a lot of travel. And I have been living out of the back of my Chevy Colorado, and that works well when it's let's say anywhere from 20 degrees to 60 degrees. But it's kind of hard to do my writing. I write books in addition to my photography, and so I thought, well, why not just build a small travel trailer? And so it was kind of a wild hare. I get quite a few hares, and
That makes for an
I just,
interesting life.
yeah, and I just got this wild hair 10 days ago, and I'll be done building the what I actually called Moose Villa 3.
Moose
The
Villa
first
3.
two tiny houses were Moose Villa 1 and Moose Villa 2, so this will be Moose Villa 3. Yeah, by the time I'm done, it will be 3 weeks
Wow,
and
that's
stuff. So yeah, it has been a bit of a blur, but part of my aim is to head to Florida and write another book about the wildlife in Florida. And I need to be able to finish that by the 1st of May, because I need to be back in the Tetons by the 1st of May when the bears come out.
what are you have other books out already?
Yeah, 3 of the books are scientific reference books. And then I've written 3 more books that are about photography and animal related type of books, and I'm under contract for 3 more.
And I know you have one, at least one, on wildlife photography in the Jackson area. Is that right?
Right. It's a book called 50 Wildlife Hotspots of Grand Teton and Surrounding Communities. And that book is done very well. It's for sale on Amazon and a bunch of local shops around the Jackson Hole area. And the publisher liked that concept so much that I'm under contract for these next three books. There'll be a 50 wildlife hotspots of Yellowstone, a 50 wildlife landscape hotspots of Tetons, and 50 wildlife hotspots of Florida.
As soon as they come out, I'll buy them. So I'm really looking forward to them.
I know that a lot of the van lifers are younger people, but I run into a lot of older folks who say, "Well, I'm too old for this. I have too many problems. I can't do this because of my age." And I kind of point out to them that, I've got IBS issues that requires me to go to the bathroom and sometimes in an emergency. I have glaucoma and that requires some special care. I suffer from depression and that requires medication. I have high blood pressure. We all have issues. You just learn to deal with them, and you can deal with these issues in a tiny house. You can deal with these issues in a van, or you can deal with these issues in a mega mansion. It doesn't matter. You still have to deal with your issues wherever you are. And just because you have a couple of years under the belt, it doesn't mean you should lay down and die and just go, well, I can't live my dreams. No, I think that's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, that's just that, and that's that's one of the main primary goals of this channel is people raise objections, and so I answer the objections. I can't go. How do I go to the bathroom? How do I shower? But then the other primary goal of the channel is to inspire, and you did that very well. Then, thank you. So, are you able to live as a wildlife photographer and an author?
Yes, I am. I don't make a lot of income. I would say on a yearly basis, I probably make 12 to 15,000 a year. That's below what most would consider the poverty level. But since my expenses are essentially zero, I pay $300 a month to my landlord to park my tiny house, and that's my only bill and stuff. So, even though I don't make a lot of money, I'm able to use the money that I do make to buy the really expensive photography equipment. Anyone that has done wildlife photography knows that, uh, photography equipment is not cheap.
Oh, you also do guided uh, photo trips. Is that right?
Yeah, I do private trips. I will not do group trips. I just don't have the personality for dealing with 8 to 10 people. I can I do very well with like a husband and wife or two friends or something like that. So I do private guided tours that are photography related. There are times where I don't have a lot of spare change and I would love to have some extra money, but there are so many ways to make money or to barter for something that you need. There have been occasions where I have helped other people in order to get a meal. If you're resourceful, you're never going to starve.
When you were living in your van, or now you're in a tiny house, you'll never be homeless because you have a home. And getting a little bit of money you need to live on everything else isn't that hard. You can do it.
Exactly. So many of us uh, think that we have to follow the quote unquote American dream, buy a house, keep up with the Joneses or the Smiths or whoever happens to be next door. That's an endless cycle of chasing your tail. And it's better to look and see what it is in life that's going to make you happy and go after that. And if that means having to change direction or maybe trying something new, then I think it's well worth it. The writing the books has been very successful for me. I really enjoy helping others and getting that information out there. but it requires an extensive amount of work. Each book requires anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years of time out in the field. And I really need some place that I can live while doing that. And I don't want to impose on other people. I don't want to stay in hotels. The back of my truck is great for sleeping, but it's hard to write the books in the back of my truck. So I decided to build this small traveling trailer. I didn't want to go out and purchase one. I did look into, purchasing something like a Scamp, one of those fiberglass trailers, but those things are anywhere from $13,000 to $20,000. And so I decided, heck, I can build something. And so when you're designing a tiny house or something like that, it's really important to look at what do you need to live your life. And the life that I'm living right now, I need a place to cook, a place to eat, a place to sleep, a desk to work at to be able to edit my photos and write my book, and a bathroom shower. And I have all of those things in this little 8-foot space. I love being able to just get by with what I can get by with. And so that's why I'm building this traveling trailer, and it's going to be my home for anywhere from 6 months to a year or even longer. I don't know. Maybe this will work out and this is going to be my full-time home. I'll have an ultra tiny.
How much is your whole Vardo going to cost? It's going to be probably really inexpensive.
About $3,000 total.
Right. So as much
And that's
as
everything.
and you already had a good truck, so you don't have much invested in it.
Yeah, that's the trailer, the structure, the paint, the bedding, that's everything to be able to take off in this, also including the trailer hitch on the truck and the wiring on the truck and everything.
Okay. Well, Moose, thank you so much. This was a fantastic interview. Now, folks, what we're going to do is, because this was pretty long, Moose is going to do a quick walk around and send it in and all of his new Vardo, and we'll show you that. And go to his channel, Moose Henderson, on YouTube, and you'll see the details, and you can leave comments and learn more. All these things we've discussed are available in detail on Moose's channel. So there's the trailer being built right there. So folks, be sure and check out his that tour video of his trailer that will be coming up soon next. So folks, if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later.
Hi everyone, just a quick interview.